Hey everyone, I wanted to go through how to make a scatter plot, an XY scatter plot using Excel. As you can see here, we have our data. First, you're going to list things that are going to go on your x-axis. That's going to be your independent variable, what you as the scientist changed or manipulated. And then here we're going to have our dependent variable, which is going to be the y-axis. And this is what was affected by that change. That's what we measured, right? So we'd measure pH there. So the first thing that we'll do is go ahead and highlight all of the data points. You can click on your Insert tab, and then you can see the recommended charts. You'll see this one with the little dots. And so here's a scatter plot, and you want the one that doesn't have any lines on it. It's just the dots. So now that looks pretty good, like what we had. First thing you're going to want to change is make sure you give this an actual title. So you could do pH versus HCl added. That would be fine. Now the next thing you're going to do is go ahead and you're going to use this little plus button over here. It's going to add different chart elements for you and things that you want. So the first thing we're definitely going to want is axis titles, right? We want to be able to label these. You have two options, so you can just go in and delete what they said here and type in pH. I love that it's going right over it. The other option is you can actually just instead, so you could copy it or you could just hit equals and you click on, like I said, this is going to be that independent variable, the x-axis. Press enter and it puts it there. So if you've already worked hard enough to go in and put in your symbol, you don't have to do it again. So if you had something like microliters. So this chart is looking pretty good. One thing that you'll notice though is all your data points are kind of clogged up in the middle here. So you might want to get some other options there. So the plus button, axes, you want more options. So here you see this little graph bar. We're going to look at options. So the first one that we are looking at, you can see it's highlighted that x-axis for you. And this is going to tell us, okay, we're starting at 0 and we're going up to 300. And when we actually look at our data, it looks like we could probably start at 75 and end at 275 and still see everything we want to see. So if we make our minimum 75, our maximum 275, you can see that fills up the graph a lot better now. So now all you need to do is click on those Y points, that Y axis, and we have the same thing over here. It's popped it up for us. So we had a minimum of 0. Probably don't need to be at a minimum of 0, so we could be at a minimum of 4. A maximum of 7 is great. And they went 6.5 to keep it consistent. But now you can see we are really using that whole chart. The next addition that we might want to make is what you'd call a standard curve line, a best fit line, whatever you want to call it in your normal math terms. In Excel, they call it a trend line. And so that trend line is going to go ahead and kind of go between. It does have other options if you felt like you had an exponential graph instead of a linear graph, anything like that. But in this case, where you just have a regular old linear trend line. Now, what you might want to do though is know the equation for that, right? So you can see we pressed on trend line. You can display the equation on the chart, and there it is. You can move that on up to the top, so when you print this out, you'll be able to see it. And then your graph is all done, and you can see using this that it's very easy with this best fit line to interpolate or extrapolate the data and see kind of, well, let's say we added 225 microliters, our pH would end up being a little bit less than 5. So that's how we do this when we're on Excel.